The next day, Mercédès came to implore the protection of Monsieur de Villefort. She did not obtain it, however, and went to visit the old man. When she saw him so miserable and heartbroken, having passed a sleepless night, and not touched food since the previous day, she wished him to go with her that she might take care of him. But the old man would not consent. "No," was the old man's reply. "I will not leave this house, for my poor dear boy loves me better than anything in the world, and if he gets out of prison he will come to see me first thing, and what would he think if I did not wait here for him?" I heard all of this from the window, for I was anxious that Mercédès should persuade the old man to accompany her, for his footsteps over my head night and day did not leave me a moment's repose. "But did you not go upstairs and try to console the poor old man?" asked the abbé. "Ah, sir," replied Caderousse, "we cannot console those who will not be consoled, and he was one of these. Besides, I know not why, but he seemed to dislike seeing me. One night, however, I heard his sobs, and I could not resist my desire to go up to him. But when I reached his door, he was no longer weeping but praying. I cannot now repeat to you, sir, all the eloquent words and imploring language he made use of. It was more than piety, it was more than grief, and I, who am no cantor, and hate the Jesuits, said then to myself, it is really well, and I am very glad that I have not any children, for if I were a father, and felt such excessive grief as the old man does, and did not find in my memory or heart all he is now saying, I should throw myself into the sea at once, for I could not bear it." "Poor father," murmured the priest. From day to day he lived alone, and more solitary. Monsieur Morel and Mercédès came to see him, but his door was closed, and although I was certain he was at home, he would not make any answer. One day, when contrary to his custom, he admitted Mercédès, and the poor girl, in spite of her own grief and despair, endeavored to console him. He said to her, "Be assured, my dear daughter, he is dead, and instead of expecting him, it is he who is awaiting us. I am quite happy, for I am the oldest, and of course shall see him first." Okay, so we are knee-deep in Caderousse's story here. What do we take of it? Do we believe Caderousse for, the surface of what he's saying, or is he trying to justify his own cowardice, which continues even beyond Dante's imprisonment, but now to the inability to console Daddy Dante? There's a certain, embarrassment it feels like Caderousse is experiencing for Daddy Dante. Is embarrassment the right word? I'm not sure. It's like I want to stop short of calling it empathy, because if it was compassion and empathy, I think it would spur him to go and console Daddy Dante rather than just listening to him from below. And whether or not I'm kind of skeptical as to whether or not he actually went up to the door, as he says here, and stopped just short of hearing him pray. To me, I don't know. There's one little thing in here that makes me question his sincerity, which was this line right here. When he says that Mercédès had been admitted for once, he said that he was anxious that she should persuade the old man to accompany her, for his footsteps over my head night and day did not leave me a moment's repose. So why would he even say that? He's talking about the experience of this man who has lost his son and is dying of heartbreak over it, and yet he still kind of inserts, man, I couldn't get any sleep because that guy was walking around all the time. It seems a little callous. It seems a little keeping in with Caderousse's initial sort of blustery selfishness or self-centeredness. And so when you have that and you combine it with not being able to take that step and bear witness to somebody else's grief, because that's a hard thing, to sit and really just be with someone else in their pain is not an easy thing to do. There's a sort of helplessness that comes with it. There's a sort of absorption of their pain that you can't help but feel, and no one wants to feel that. But, you push past it if you aren't a coward. This is what I think I'm getting around to is this is just an example of his cowardice and not being able to do it, because you do push past that in order to support and be there for somebody else in their time of need. And Caderousse is saying, like, oh yeah, well, the second that I was about to do that, he was praying, and like I couldn't interrupt on him praying. And this is where I use the word embarrassment, because he says that, he's glad he didn't have any children, because if he felt any excessive grief, as the old man does, that he would basically throw himself into the sea. I can kind of empathize with that to a small degree, because I also don't have any children. And probably would feel that same way if I did have children, but I don't. And so that creates that impossible loop of, never being able to understand someone else's experience. That said, like, it's not a reason to stop yourself from going to help them. In fact, it should be reason to do it. If you feel that way, being childless, and you can't comprehend what he's actually going through, then it's all the more necessary for you to go and at least just be a body, be a presence in their life, to let them know that they don't have to be alone. It's their choice whether or not they accept it or push you away, but it's not an excuse to show your cowardice. I don't know why I'm judging Caderousse so much here. I mean, I'm not trying to apply my own 2025 logic to him, but I'm just trying to bring this back around to the idea of what is this saying about Caderousse's character, as clearly Dante is judging him from this story to see if he's worthy of this diamond, worthy of reward or vengeance. So I don't know how Dante is going to feel about this. We'll have to find out by seeing what happens with the rest of Daddy Dante's story. I have a feeling it's going to break my heart, but you know what? We have to have the courage to continue, and I will bear witness to Caderousse's story. Okay, join me here tomorrow as we continue with Chapter 27. Until then, okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.